Howdy y'all, Q here, and today we're going to be going over an original Electro-Harmonix Super Space Drum. Let's get to it.
If you made it this far, welcome to the Q Show.
Alright, so what do we have here? We've got a Super Space Drum unit. It is released in 1979. I mean, the advertisement pamphlet for the new one talks about how it's a cult classic. It's a really cool synthesizing unit. It's pretty basic, but when you kind of maximize its usefulness, it can get some really cool sounds. So I've got my trusty modded Volca Beats over here. The mod doesn't really have any bearing in this instance, but I'm happy to tell people I did it. And we're going to use it to trigger this unit. But before we do, just this little thing here, you hit it, and it'll generate a trigger pulse for the unit. Cool. Now that we're past that, on to actually triggering it with something. Now, let's go over the controls, and after that, I want to talk to you about some of the ways it's been commonly used, and then I'll tell you about how I like to use it. Let's get started. We got our stop frequency and our start frequency. Now, for some reason, my caveman brain thought this meant like more lower if you go up. No, they're both frequency ranges. So this is the lowest, this is the highest for both. To say that if you use it with the start frequency higher, it's going to go down like a typical kick, and if you do the opposite, it's going to go up like a space drum, I guess. Now, why would you want to do that? Like it's not really, it doesn't sound like a drum at all, but combine it with the modulation effect and maybe get a little creative with this stuff. If you do the opposite, you can get some pretty cool stuff going on, and this was pretty popular with dub music. Like if you go like that, you can go like and then, does that sound familiar? Now, I don't know if that was what we used on that iconic Daft Punk Kanye collab, but it definitely gets you the sound, and I think that's pretty damn cool. So yeah, you can do that if you do something like this. Or cool. So lots of cool like noise-makey type effects. I love that this thing just sounds like it has a lot of headroom. And for that, it gets a richness to the sound I really appreciate. I can't speak to if it's always sounded like that or if there's any elements of component drift occurring here that kind of give it a slightly different tone. All I know is that I like it. You can probably get the same sound out of a new one. I think on Reverb he's like $450 right now. It's not worth it. Get the new one. Moving on. Now that we've got the general features covered, I want to highlight some stuff I thought was kind of interesting. When you get the stop and start frequencies far enough away from each other, the level of input starts to affect where it starts. So check it. So with the drum machine, I can only vary it so much, but you can imagine if this was plugged into like an actual pad, you could get some crazy cool stuff going on there. Something to note. Let's get into the modulation effect and kind of make it sound a little zany and more like an actual drum. So let me, All right, so. All right, so we got like our drum. So that's long but short. You can kind of get like some stuff going on, and the thing is, with the modulation effect, I keep using that hand, with the modulation effect, if you don't put the depth so extreme, you can actually get almost like a sub thing going on. And now you're gonna have to kind of play with your ear depending on where you set the stop frequency to. I imagine you'll be tuning this to your track. But you can, this almost removes the pitch element. But if you get it just right, to me it adds like a really cool like just a gritty distortion to it. It's not really distortion, it's just the way it's modulating, which gives it like a very cool flavor to me. And that's pretty much it. It's an effects unit, does the thing. And there we have it. All right, what'd you think? I love this unit. It's been sitting, and I basically brought it out for this video, and honestly, I'm probably gonna start using it more. It's inspired me to kind of get back into external processing, kind of being a little more creative in that way. I'm really excited to see what I turn out with this thing. If y'all liked it, I would suggest definitely getting a new one. Electro-Harmonix re-released this in 2016, thankfully. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'm Q, and this has been The Q Show.